Hmm.
A very good morning, everyone, and welcome to the CXO show in collaboration with CXO Global Forum and EliteWAD, where we bring you exclusive and unique technology and innovative solutions to protect your organization to the current emerging threats and vulnerabilities. For that, today we have an exciting broadcast which will enable your organization to manage and validate vulnerabilities and perform a full AI driven penetration test. My name is Hasan Zuberi, and I'm the product manager at EliteWAD for cybersecurity and the host for today's show. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you my colleague Karthik Kumar, Senior Pre-Sales Consultant, Cybersecurity Solutions at EliteWAD. Over to you, Karthik.
Thank you so much, Hasan, for a quick introduction. Morning, gentlemen. Hope you are doing well.
No. So here, uh, listen here. So let me just take you to the backstream of it. So apologies for that. So validating and managing the vulnerabilities on the vulnerabilities itself. So here, firstly, we will, before we get into it, what we will do is that we will just understand the cybersecurity risk itself. So the vulnerabilities in the context of the cybersecurity, it refers to the weakness or maybe the flaws in the software, hardware, process, or even in human behavior, that can be exploited by the malicious actors to compromise the security and the integrity of the system, network, or maybe the data. So as you can see over here, the risk which triggers the threat triggers the vulnerabilities or over the critical assets itself. And And as you can see onto the daily basis, the customer support database holding over 280 million Microsoft customer records was left unprotected on the web. GoDaddy confirms the data breach, what customer needs to know, and 500,000 of the Zoom accounts are being compromised by the credential stuffing, and it's been sold on the dark web. And your $1 million security investment doesn't tell you what risk you are being exposed to. And all of these will be on the top of the CISO's mind. So risk mining process is to find a needle in an hackstay itself. So as you can see here, the exploited vulnerabilities and the vulnerabilities in your in your environment. So, but you cannot able to view the disclosed vulnerabilities. And as you can see over here, the number of vulnerabilities exploited during the past decade is being keep on rising, but not it has been decreasing. Now, how we can do this? They might be in manual pen testing, they might be in process of the pen testing, but now the generation has been keep on moving onto it, and then everyone are been looking onto the AI, machine learning. These are all things are been coming up into the the industry itself. So we need a solution which will automate our pen testing. So in this case, you will have a lot of pros rather than the cons itself. So here I introduce you a product called Rich Security itself. It is in one application where it has a two testing methodologies. One is the automated penetration testing. The second one is the advisory cyber emulation. Now, before I go into what exactly the Rich is about, so I'll just speak up a little bit about the Rich presence itself. So Rich presence is been like they have like almost 250 plus active channel partners. They have the customers across North and South America, Europe, Asia, and Africa itself in all of the verticals, whether it's an FSI, government, telecom, and MSSP itself. Now, if I speak about the customer references, they have like almost 90 plus global end customers, and they are being into every sector. Like if you look into the financial institutes, if you look into the enterprise level, if you look into the government agencies, or maybe the telecoms, or even the MSPs as well. And need not to say, this company has been awarded with the most startup innovative company for 2022, cutting edge pen testing 2022, and most innovative cloud workload protection for 2023, and the best solution for the web pen testing for 2023. And also adding to that, these guys, they are being recognized by the Gartner, saying as a major players in the automated penetration testing and the red teaming tool. And also, just to let you know that there are being recommendations from the customers itself, from the Rich Security. So you can just go on to the Gartner peer insights, and then you can read the customer reviews onto it. Now, let's jump on to the main thing. What does the pain point does the Rich bot will solve? So when you have we have seen the issues which are being there in the market. So how this will be solved? So RichBot is a solution where it will be easy to operate. It is automated and the continuous kind of a thing. It is having a wider coverage of into the industry, or maybe into your organization itself. And it is improved results within real-time reporting. The reporting structure of the RichBot, it's an amazing. So what they say is that RichBot automates the entire ethical hacking process, which is 100 times faster than any human tester itself. Now, let's look into how does this work. RichBot, it's a piece of software. It's an intelligent security validation robot itself. It has a collective knowledge of threats, vulnerabilities, exploits, which having the equipped with this, it's an art hacking technique itself, and it provides a continuous security validation. You just deploy the software, and you just need to select and pick and select the scenario itself, and you can schedule the task, or maybe you can run it on demand as well. And that's it. You sit back and relax. You don't need to do anything onto it once the task has been scheduled. So it is a completely automated testing tool. And after the test has been done, it will review and download the risk report itself. And like I said, it's a completely 100% automated solution. So it will discover the attack surface discovery, where it will give you the asset fingerprinting and the smart crawling itself. It's an completely a vulnerability scanning solution itself, where it will look into your attack surface discovery, top of it, the weak link searching itself. Followed by that, it will launch the attacks, which means the multi-threading, iterative attacks, and even the multi-vectors. And finally, the lateral movement. So you can look into the privilege escalation or maybe the lateral movement itself. So this is the complete cycle which has been going on to it. And this is being completely managed by our AI powered rich brain, which is having the smart decision engine itself. Now, when I say about the wider coverage, it looks into your applications. It looks into your websites. It can do the pen testing for your Windows, Linux servers as well. This is also one of the positive thing. And not only onto the Windows and the Linux, of course, it can do the pen testing for your cloud services itself, where you're hosting your services on the cloud. And top of it, it can, it's a part of your networks infrastructure also. It can do the network infrastructure pen testing, and of course it can be a part of your security defense system. So richbot complete visibility over your entire infrastructure itself. Now when you look into it, the risk finding with the proof, like how could this happen, it will show you the exploited vulnerabilities, what might be exposed. So it shows you the risk exposure with the evidence, it, and what shall I do about it. It will not only show you the risk exposure with the evidence, top of it, it will provide you the remediation suggestion as well. And when you look onto the reporting parts, it's an real-time reporting, where you can look into the exploited vulnerabilities, the verified one by the richbot itself, and even the non-verified exploit risk also it will show it to you, apart from the verified one. It has been categorized as high, medium, low, and informational. Now, if I speak about the differentiation, so it's a single platform with two testing methodologies. It's a completely AI-driven automation with the smart algorithms itself. It looks into any kind of an attacks, whether it's in sophisticated, iterative, or maybe pivoted attacks. And like I said, it's an two testing methodologies where it has the ACE. So it do follow the MITRE attack framework as well. And of course, it will keep up with the latest CISA and CVE alerts. Now, we have seen what are the pain points, how does it installs, and what are the differentiation. When you have the solution, let's have a quick look on what can richbot will do for you. So what are the benefits when you have this as a solution in your environment itself? It will help the CISO to understand the overall cyber risk itself. It will reduce the workload for security team by pinpointing the critical assets and alleviate the problem of the resource shortage. So in case if you have like a resource shortage in your organization, you don't need to worry about it, because this is an entirely an automated VAPT solution itself. And of course, like the task is being onto the schedule, so it continues manage the risk and do the security posture as well. So if you look into the use cases, we have the use cases like the continuous security testing. It can look onto your DevOps and the SecOps release testing as well. It is a part of the security posture validation. It can be an compliance audit, and it can do the security incident response as well. Now, where are the verticals that the richbot will fix into it? So here are the verticals. So you might be thinking that, is this the solution can fit only into the SMBs or maybe a large enterprise or where? So just to give you an overview about it, it can fit into the large enterprise. It can go into as a risk-based vulnerability management for all of the enterprise. It can be an hyper automation for the SMBs as well, and a pen testing services, especially for the people who are being there using their services as MSSP. And of course, the main thing is the banking and the government agencies. So it's an automated pen testing and the VAPT tool as well, considering for it. So the safety control, what do we have is that no damage to the system. It will clean up the path, the first thing. The second one is the being stealthy with the rate limit. And it will disable the damaging plugins as well. And of course, when I said it's an automation, so you don't need to worry that whether the user intervention will be there or not. So of course you can have the user intervention as well. Now, finally, let's move on to the how the deployment and the licenses works onto it. So how to make the rich bot work. So the deployment requirement is simple. Like I said, it's in software. You can deploy it as into a virtual machine or maybe into an as in bare metal server. So you can deploy it as into an Hyper-V or Azure itself with your VMware Fusion or maybe an ESXi. With the depends upon the number of concurrent bots you want it, or depends upon the concurrent number of an IPs or the web servers. So it has, you can deploy onto an as an VM, or maybe if you say, no, I do have an appliance where I can install this solution. Yes, of course, you can do that one as well. And the cloud services where it will help for the MSSP guys to set up the cloud-based one itself. Okay. Now, if we look into the Richbot license overview, what to test? This is the first thing. So we can do the testing for the IP license, such as the network pen testing and the web pen testing for the application. And who owns the rich? It's the end user can own the rich. It's the partner as in ProX, they can own the rich. And even the MSSP guys, they can own the rich itself. So it's simple as it. So the IP license is being binded to the network pen testing, and the web license is being binded for the web application pen testing. And it is still not over it. So now we speak about the integrations. So to provide a rich bot quotation, we need to understand the what kind of a business model we do have onto it. So it can integrate with the APIs as well, like the third-party management solutions. So as you can see onto the screen, it can integrate with your XDR, which is the Trellix and the Stella Cyber. It can integrate with your SIM and the SOAR platform, which is the Phantom. And just to let you know, guys, that these guys, they have recently signed up with the Fortinet SOAR as well, like the Forti SOAR. So it can be integrated with them. And then DevOps and the vulnerability scanner like the Nessus and Nexpose. And when it comes on to the DevSecOps, the Jira software and the GitLabs. I hope you have liked the presentation itself. And let's move on to the demo part itself. So for the demo, so this is how the Richbot demo looks like for you. So you have tasks, you have scenarios, you have plugin, you have assets, and then the reporting. So when I said it's an completely an automated kind of a thing, so it has two testing methodologies. The first one is the pen testing. The second one is the attack stimulation task itself. Now, how do I do this? It's simple. You don't need to have a skilled to run this one. So that's what I have told you, that it's an completely automated. So even if you have the shortage skills in your organization, so you don't need to worry about it. So you just click onto the create a task, and then you will see the list of all the scenarios that will be displayed it for you over here. And you just need to pick and choose onto the scenarios itself. So let me just have a quick look onto it. Okay, apologies for that. Okay. I have the other demo as well ready for you guys. Okay, so in the meanwhile, let's have a questions from, let's say if you have any kind of questions until the Richbot comes up over here itself. So let's have a quick questionnaire session itself.
Okay, Karthik, I have 2-3 questions briefly. So to start with, how does Richbot compare with vulnerability scanners such as Qualys and Nexus?
So that's a very good question, and I'm sure that everyone will be asking such, or maybe those kinds of thoughts will be coming. Whether when I say it's an vulnerability assessment and the pen testing kind of thing. So of course it do this kinds of questions will pop up easily. So the answer for this question is that Richbot, it's an automated pen testing tool, like I've been saying onto it. It is more than a vulnerability scanner. It will look for the vulnerabilities in a target, and it will attempt to exploit the discovered vulnerabilities. And of course, it has the key values as in zero false positive risk findings. So it means that it will give you a clear picture on how to patch the system itself.
Okay, thank you. And how about, can Ridgebot be used to look for zero-day vulnerability?
Of course. So Ridgebot is being designed as an red teaming tool itself. So Ridgebot will provide a plugin, like I've been saying, that it has in plugins itself. So it looks into the plugin to detect the critical vulnerabilities within plugin library, about what kind of plugins that you have to run for it itself.
Okay, and how about, can Ridgebot do black box, gray box, or white box penetration testing?
Ridgebox supports the black box and the gray box testing as well, but the white box testing is in their roadmap feature, and soon they will be coming up with that one.
Cool. And how frequent is a new plugin update available on Ridgebot?
Great. That's an amazing question, because when I said that it has an plugins to detect the critical vulnerabilities, so the Richbot will post the plugin update every 2 weeks on the average. So the new plugins can be included in the new plugin library, or are being bundled with a new software version, which we do have onto it.
Okay, the last one would be, how do you set up Ridgebot and do pen tests on targets at a remote site?
Yeah, this is also an when you say that you have, it's an automated pen testing, can I install this solution in my lab demo, and then can I do the pen testing just by sitting at my office itself, and how exactly it works? So yes, of course, the answer to the question is that the Ridgebot recommends the user to set up a site-to-site VPN tunnel, which will minimize the network delay and the performance. And if you want as an alternative, I'll suggest that Ridgebot itself has an open VPN client. So it can establish an VPN tunnel to the remote site. And if it has an open VPN server, it can be established. And just by sitting in your office, you can just connect it through the open VPN, or maybe through a site-to-site VPN tunnel, and you can do the pen testing.
Cool. I think now we will move towards the demo. If we have things ready, so we will start the demo. We will show you a little bit of simulation, how Ridgebot interacts with the environment, and how to perform an automated and fully AI-driven pen test, and how to discover the vulnerabilities and attack surfaces and the vulnerable endpoints you have in your organization and in your environment.
Yep, sure. Let me just pull up my screen for you. Okay, here it is. I have the Ridgebot for you guys, and let me just quickly log in onto it. Verification code option. Okay, cool. So here is the Ridgebot for you people. So as you can see on the screen itself, so the Ridgebot, let me bring up this one for you guys. Yeah, so here it is. So the Ridgebot, this is how the screen looks like. And if you can see over here, we have the pen testing and the attack stimulation over there. So when I click onto the when I said it's an automated VAPT solution, so it's like you just need to click onto and create a task itself, and then the task will be popping onto it. So you can select what are the scenarios. It has an attack surface identification. It can do the website pen testing. It can do the host penetration testing. It can do the intranet pen testing, which is the full pen testing for you. It has a weak credential exploit itself. And the third-party framework pen testing and ransomware penetration testing, intranet ransomware pen testing, and the third-party scanning result validation. Like you want to, if you have a scan that you have performed with the let's say as an Nessus or an Expose, so you can verify with the third party as well. And when it comes on to the attack stimulation, we have the attack stimulation as an endpoint security, where you can do the data exfiltration as well, and then the Active Directory information reconnaissance. So what I'm going to do is that I'll just pick and choose anything onto it. So let's say that I want to do an full pen testing. Now I just select this task as in full pen testing. I give the information over here as in something like as in test. I'll just define the IPs over here, or maybe the entire subnet of it. So I just define the subnet, let's say as in 192.168.1.1, or maybe 1.0/24, or maybe 1.15, anything. I can just define it onto it. And here in the task schedule, I can run the task, or maybe I can schedule it. So how it works, if it's as an on demand, then I can run it now, or maybe I can run it once, like I can just give the when it need to start, or maybe I can schedule the task as an weekly, okay, when it starts and when it needs to be end. And in case if I want to pause the task as well, I can do that one by defining the time slots, or maybe I can run it monthly. So it's a completely the user friendly kind of a thing. So if I want to run it now as an on demand, I click on run now, and then it works onto it. Now here I do have, like I said, it's an automated, but it still do have an user intervention as well. So user intervention, it has an user decision or maybe an auto decision in case if you want to run any kind of plugins.
Karthik, we have a short question here. I mean, maybe we can answer it in between. Somebody is asking what is the deployment options. So this continues with our demo.
Okay, so here the deployment options, like I have already said it, that you can deploy it as an VM, or maybe as into an cloud security as well, or maybe if you have it as an appliance, then you can deploy it onto an appliance as well. I hope I answered to your question. Okay, so let's move on to it. With the stealth late, the stealth level, you can have it as an intermediate, normal, and to a noisy one as well. And here, when I said that it can do the DevSecOps connector, so you just need to enable onto it, and you can select the integration that you have did it earlier with the DevSecOps. I'm going to show it to you how you need to do the integration. And then moving on to the second option, we have the information reconnaissance. So firstly, what we do is that we do the host probing, which means that it will, it will just try to ping the target to verify whether it's the availability has been there from the rich bot to the target itself or not. Then we need to just select what kind of an scan type it is, as in TCP SYN, TCP ACK, TCP FIN, TCP null, TCP connect, or maybe an UDP. It's completely depends upon you. And you need to do an full scan, or maybe you need to do an optimized scan, or maybe you need to do an fast scan. Just select onto it. And then the main thing is the ports. So here they are being common ports. So I can select as in common TCP ports. I can select as in common UDP ports. And as you can see onto the screen, the ports are being keep on changing as soon as I select onto it. And I can select the common ports, and I can select the all of the ports. And either if you say, no, I want to do it with the vulnerable ports, or maybe I can do the enterprise internet or with the database itself. And because most of the organizations, they do have the custom ports, so you can just give the certain custom ports itself. And next, move on to the exploitation. Here we do have as a risk control. We can do the no impact one, or maybe an impact one as well, like the possible impact. It's completely depends upon you that how do you want to do that one. And here I do have the brute force. So what I do is that I just enable the one, and then I have two options. What kind of an brute force I want to do, whether it's an password guessing or maybe an password spray. So what are these options? You can just place your cursor over there. It will define it to you. When I say it's an password guessing, it will use the one account and then the multiple passwords. Or maybe when I say as in password spray, it can use one password within multiple accounts. And it can, you just need to enable all of these service types itself. And if you want to add more service types, you can do that one as well. You don't need to worry. That's user friendly. Now, and finally, moving on to the post exploitation. Like I said, it can do the lateral movement. So I can just enable or maybe disable. And here I just define the number of and range for the lateral movement itself. And here I just enable the privilege escalation. So it can look into the horizontal way or maybe into an vertical. In case if you have any, once the pen testing is being successful, and if you have any kind of an script that you want to run it onto the Windows, or maybe you want to run it on the Linux, you just need to upload it. And once you define everything, you just click on run. And once the task has been run, you will see the task over here in such a way. So I did a couple of tasks itself before I start up the the presentation or the demo, so that it will be much easier for you to understand. And now when I say that how this works and what are all is, so when I just go on to the scenarios and then I pick and choose any of the scenario, let's say I have like an attack surface identification. This attack surface identification will give you the information about the asset profiling to identify the machine OS type, open ports, or maybe like a website, or maybe the domains, subdomains, encryption, web frameworks, external URI, all of those things. So how exactly every scenario which works, it works onto the plugins. So the plugin plays an important role for you. And as you can see over here, when I select it, we do have as an 36,110 plugins. And like the Hasan has asked me the question that how frequently the plugins to update onto it. It updates for once in every 2 weeks. So you don't need to worry about it. It has all of these plugins. So
well, Karthik, I have another question. Maybe you can answer it in between. The question is that can I minimize the risk of exploitation?
Yes, of course, you can do that one as well by, I'm going to show it to you that how exactly it works onto the risk exploitation itself. So let me, when we have this one regarding the presentation itself onto the part of an scenario running.
And sorry to interrupt, and can you again repeat the process because we got the question late. What is the deployment options? Can you combine both?
Yeah, sure, of course. So let me just talk up. Okay, so here I can, so here, like I said, that these are the scenarios. So I just click onto it and then I can see the plugin list. So every plugin has different types of scenarios that are, every scenario has different types of plugins are being selected. So for the intranet pen testing, it has been selected 35,988 plugins by default because it's the rich port it's been selected. And if I go on to the website penetration testing and if I see the plugin list, I can see over here that it has selected only 4,227 plugins by default itself. So in such a way, it is a smart thing, the smart algorithm, which has been there with the help of our rich board. So I can pick and choose anything. Let's, if I say I want to select the ransomware pen testing and how many plugins it's been selected out of 36,000, it has been selected only 284. So this is been very easier for you. You don't need to do anything. All by default, all of the plugins have been selected. You just need to give the relevant information in the step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then let's leave it off. And the OS selection, it do have Windows, Linux, and the others. When it comes to others, I say it looks into your IoT as well. Okay, just have a point onto it. Now, you might say that by default, these are the plugins are there. Karthik, can I create my own plugin? Yes, you can do that one. You just go onto the plugin list and then you can create your plugin as it over here. You just define the vulnerability name, when it has been found, what is the severity of the vulnerability, what are the risk control, like whether it's a no impact or maybe an possible impact, and what are the category it is been falling under it. As you can see here, I just keep on scrolling. You just need to define what are the categories and then what is the position, summary, patch link in case you have the reference, CVE, CVSS vector, test link. And when I go on to the next step, I can define the correspondent applications, like what are all the applications it has been affected onto it. like it's in Postgres or maybe, IPC or maybe SNMP or Windows or maybe as an, TopSec or anything. You just have to pick and choose from this one as an application, the version onto it, what are the OS types. And finally, editing role. You can define your script, or maybe you can define your, the validation for it over here for the rules, and just click on submit. So once you click on submit, your plugin will be displayed over here. You just need to add into the any of your scenarios. And one more thing, you can create your own scenarios as well, apart from these system scenarios. So I click on create a scenario. I just create the scenario. I define whatever the plugins I wanted from this. When I say there have been 36,000, I don't need this one. I just select only couple of plugins itself. And when I expand this plugin, I'll just show it to you what it has been there. So this plugin name is the remote desktop services weak password itself. And the severity is high. Risk possibility is the possible impact. OS type is Windows. Corresponding application is the third party. Description, it has been given. And then few of them, they might not have the CV scores, but few of them, they have the CV scores. So it has been there onto it. And here are the tasks. So let's say that when I've run the couple of tasks for you guys, I have did one of the tasks as in website pen testing. The another one is the attack surface identification. If I show it to you once the task has been completed, and as you can see on the screen here, the task is being started at 22, 23, 42 seconds. And it is being ended at 22, 31 minutes, 55 seconds itself. That's it. It was so quick. And if I want to say the precisely how long does it took, it just took only 6 minutes, 12 seconds. And the execution process were like 1021. So I can see over here the complete topology itself from the rich part itself. And then when I go on to the topology part, I can see the topology structure, how the rich part will be working onto it. I can see what are the risk which has been found out with the score level. This is the website itself that we were trying to do the pen testing for it, the URL, and here is my rich part. And when I show it to you, the confirmed risk, this is how it looks like. So how it happened, it looks into the URL, and then from there, it has seen the SQL injection. And from there, it just seen this risk itself. So it has been found out that access to database has found like 87 tables with the current user, impacted target itself, and the current database information. So in such a way, it will exploit, it will not only do the vulnerability scanning, but it do the pen testing for you. Now, when I move on to the another tab itself, I'll have the task summary, which is very simple over here. It will give you the summary of the task. What is the health score onto it? What are the action types? Is this an on-demand or unscheduled one? When it started, when it is ended, the task progress itself, active IP, active site, how many vulnerabilities it has been found, 120, how many attack surface it has been done, 54. Is there any kind of compromised asset? It's been there. Yes or no? Yes, it's been there. So it can show it to you. And then the top risk are being there. Like it will divide the risk in the database, or maybe the credential, or maybe in shell, or the source code itself. And here also it will define you the vulnerability scan path itself. The longer the scan path, the attack path, it's that much dangerous for you. Now, when we move on to the risk part, it will show it to you. Attack log, all of these attack logs are been there. Like I said, it has almost like 1021. Those attack logs have been there with an asset table. We have just did the two of the IPs, two websites which we did it, which is the 44.228.249.3, which is an Ubuntu server. And then the another one is this, with how many risks it has been found and how many vulnerabilities. Now, when I go on to the, as an attack surface table, I can see the attack surface table itself. And the main part is over the vulnerability table. I can see all of the vulnerabilities which are being displayed over here. So if I show it to you, I have like 120 vulnerabilities. So all those vulnerabilities are being displayed. The amazing and the clear part, like the amazing thing, what I just love over here is the vulnerabilities thing. Because once it shows you the vulnerabilities, if you expand this one, it will show you the in detailed thing. the SQL injection has been happened, high the status, what is the CVSS score, CVSS vector, description of that vulnerability, and the solution that what you need to do to disclose this vulnerability. Top of it, references in case if you want to reference, if you want to cross verify with the third party, like in websites, you can look onto it, the detailed information and the coding of the request and the response, and how this has happened, the attack path. It will show it to you the attack path itself. It began to penetrate, the asset detection has been happened, web fingerprint detection has been happened, and the spyware component and the SQL injection has been happened. And if you want to validate the vulnerability with the request and the response one, you can just click on to the validate and it can happen on. So it has the every single thing. These are being like the attack succeeded kind of a thing. So you can see over here, and it has a label, which means that you can exist the attack, or maybe the vulnerability has been existing or not, false positive, patched, or to verify. And finally, we have the report preview, where when the task is also been running, you can preview the report by yourself, just that how the report preview will be there. So it's a confidential audit report generated by the Richport. You can have a quick look onto the report. Okay. And once the report is been done, here I missed this part of the risk, the risk table itself. Total, there are like 7 risks which are being there, and these are the risk which it's been there. So credential disclosure also been happened onto it. When I click on the the view of the password itself, if it's been cracked, then it can show it to you the password test, or maybe the any password is been there. It will show it to you with the attack path. Okay. Now, once the task is been done, here you can just generate the report. So you just click onto the report, and here the report screen, the pop-up will be appear for you. It has a template. You can have the complete summary, or maybe as a custom one. Okay. Now, most of them, when it's as an MSSP or when you're giving the services to your customers, you might be thinking, Karthik, can I add my company's logo for this one? Yes, of course, it isn't customizable. So you just add your logo once you pull out the report itself. You can get the report in a PDF or maybe an HTML format, and a summary of the report, or maybe just to have a quick look onto this OWISP top 10 2017 and then top 10 2021 reports have been there. And just it doesn't only support the English language, it do support the Korean, Spanish, Italian language, because like I said, it has a global customers, so they do support onto it. Now when I select this and click on generate, it just goes on to the reporting structure itself, and I can see the reports. So when I just click on the download part here, this is the main thing. So what we recommend is that we want you to encrypt it within passcode itself. So just encrypt it within passcode, because all of the vulnerabilities, risk exposure, everything will be there. You just need to download the report. And when you click on download, you will be able to view the report itself. Let me just download it for you, these reports. And I'm downloading it without the providing the password itself. And I will show it to you how the reporting structure looks like when it comes on to the custom one, or maybe I'll just download it for you, even the top 10 2021 OWISP reports as well. Okay. And here are my reports, which is been there. Let me just pull up the report for you. So this is how the reports looks like. So the confidential Richport audit, and instead of the rich security logo, you can add your company's logo as well. And when I just go on to the below, I can see over here, this report is being generated for OWISP top 10 compliance executive. Okay. So you can here we have the quick links. I can see the task name, when it started, when it ended, how long did it took, whether it's been success or not. And here the health score of that task is like in 15. So it means that what Richport recommends is that the minimum score should be 60. So if it's less than that, then you're at risk. So it will give you the report in such an amazing format that you will have the you don't need to worry about it. You just define it, you click it, you schedule it, you sit back and relax. You don't need to do every single thing. Can be done by the ridge itself. You can have a quick look onto the vulnerabilities, defining as in high, medium, low, informational. And because these are like an OWSP top 10 2021 vulnerabilities, you have the quick links for you. So you can look into the broken access control, or maybe security misconfiguration, identification and features. You just have a check onto it. So if I say that broken access control, how many vulnerabilities I have seen? 41. And when I just click onto it, I can see the broken access control, the 41 vulnerabilities, the description onto it, and the references, and these just keep on going on to all of those vulnerabilities. So that's how it looks like. And the next report, which I have downloaded it for you, this is how it looks like, the reporting for the test one. Yep, this is the one for the test one, which I did it. It took like 8 minutes, and these are the the pen testing action distribution. It will just show it to you how many tasks are being there, any business risk, whatever we have seen onto the dashboard itself. Every single thing you can see. It will show it to you how many plugins have been done, what are the OS types, whether it's in Windows, Linux, and the other, severity, asset details, sites, website fingerprinting, and exploit details itself, like the credential type, CVSS score, references. The amazing is the kill chain part. It will show it to you how it has been successfully attacked, this one, and give you the information. So it's like an completely and ready for you. So you just need to just give the details, relax, and then just pull out the report. So you can do every single thing with this one. And here, finally, I just want to show it to you that I did it for the endpoint as well, for the endpoint test. And when I open the endpoint, it will just show it to me the percentage of the number of blocked, how many target, how many script it has been run, blocked, not blocked, applications, block rate, every single thing with the MITRE attack techniques and the MITRE attack tactics. Because here, a quick look onto the endpoint thing. Well, the reason is that this is the one. You just define the IP host. So how this works, you need to install a botlet. I'll just show it to you. So you just need to install the botlet. And when you click on manage, you will see the list of all your assets where the agent, which is the botlet, has been installed onto it. And when I click on additional settings, you can see the threat groups, you can see the MITRE attack tactics, and you can see the MITRE attack techniques. So it has almost like all of the tactics and tactics with the 170 available. Cool. Okay. And when I say that as an rich bot itself, here when I go on to the assets, I can see that the botlet, when I click onto it, I can see here as an the botlet, which is the agent. I can just download the agent from the Windows, or maybe as an Linux one. The agents, I can just download it, whether it's in 32-bit or in maybe in 64-bit, whether it's in Windows and the Linux one. And then once the agent has been there, I can download it, or maybe with a script, I can do that one as well. Anything, it's an easier one. And once I install it, I have the host, the list of all these machines which are being there. Either I can install it from here as well. Okay. And when I look onto the integration parts, which I said that it can integrate with the connectors, these are the ones: Jira Data Center, Jira Cloud, or the GitLab itself. So here we have just give the information onto the server name and the server URL, username and the password, and click on test, and then it's done. And finally, what I want to show it to you is the OpenVPN. When I said that you can set at the in your organization, and you can just define this one. Here you have the OpenVPN, so you can just configure the OpenVPN, and then you can do that one. So you have the system backup as well. You can do that one. You can have a quick look onto the system usage as well. You can have a quick look onto the notifications, or when I click onto the about, I can see the complete information, the machine code and the license usage, how many licenses the quota has been there, how many remaining are been there. So every single thing you can have a quick look on. I hope it was a fruitful session. Let's look into the questions if do we have any kind of questions.
Yes, Karthik, an amazing presentation. We have two questions actually. The first one is, can Bridgeport suggest the solution or mitigation of the vulnerabilities? And the second one is, if we can combine both replies, what about the integration with security solutions?
Okay, so that's a very good question to ask, because the can Bridgeport suggest the solution for the mitigation of the vulnerabilities? Yes, it do. Like I have shown to you in the presentation, or maybe in the demo itself, that it has the solution for all your vulnerabilities. So you just need to download the report, present it to your customer, and then you can just say the customer, Mr. Customer, this is the report, here is the issue, and here is the solution as well, with the references onto it, with the third party references. And there is an script that if you have it, you can upload it as well, and you can run it onto it. And what about the integration with the other security solutions? Yes, it do the security solutions, which I believe I'll just pull up my slide for you and I can show it to you. These are the integrations itself, that whether it can do the XDR, SIM, SOAR, DevOps, SecOps, VA scanners. Like when you speak about the integrations onto the endpoint security, like an XDR, we have Trellix and Stella Cyber. If you speak about the SIM and SOAR, we have Splunk Phantom. And like I said, that these guys, they recently signed up with the 40 SOAR as well to do the integrations. And here onto the Nessus Professional as an vulnerability scanner. And when it goes on to the DevOps SecOps, it has the Jira software and the GitLab. Okay. Let's have a quick look onto any more questions which are being there onto the screen or not.
No, I think all are done. Karthik, if you want to add something, otherwise this session has been very fruitful. Almost we are coming to the end, and I would first like to thank all, including CXO Global, into this organizing and giving us a chance. Karthik, yourself, and the questions and the way the presentation has been done. So thanks everyone, and we would like to end the session here, and we will be back very soon. Karthik, you have something?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, guys, whoever have joined, and then whoever has been. I hope this is a fruitful session for you guys. So like I said, this is a completely automated VAPT solution itself. So you don't need to worry about it, that how exactly this works. It's so easy. It's just plug and play. I would be saying onto it. It will reduce the shortage of the skills. You don't need high skills onto it. Here are my contact details. So you can just, reach me out with my number or the email address itself. I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks everyone. Thank you, CXO Global, for providing us the opportunity here. And thanks a lot again. And we will see you very soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.